direct violence, the cultural violence, and the institutional violence through laws are meant from preventing the Baha'is from organizing, living, and thriving as a community.
In my childhood, the way I was exposed to the Baha'i faith and Baha'i people was basically through two things. One, fear, and another one, that they're good people. And I never really questioned much of this, remembering certain things in an environment of fear that, for example, if you say Baha'is, you have to lower your voice, and you're sort of conditioned to follow that behavior without really asking much. A lot of us as non-Baha'is, even if in my case I was privileged to be in quite an aware family, you just kind of follow normatively what you're taught to. Don't mention the word, be scared, stay away. The generations of Iranians that at least I know in post-revolutionary Iran they were deprived of their own history. They were deprived of understanding and becoming familiar with the diversity of their own nation, whether it's religious, ethnic.
The Baha'i people of Iran have long been subjected to a systematic process of othering by the state. Arbitrary arrests, detentions, and physical abuse continue. Baha'i homes, businesses, and sacred sites remain targets of vandalism and destruction, while cemeteries are routinely desecrated.
And what I see is that the younger generation, first of all, is extremely clever in identifying misinformation and disinformation. The Iranian government has done more than many of us can imagine in campaigning, for example, against the Baha'is, sometimes staging it as other religious minorities talking against the Baha'is. We haven't really read our own history, and we haven't really been exposed to our own diversity. And I do believe that I have experienced the finding of the report when it comes to the fact that the cultural violence has not, sort of imposed by the Islamic Republic, has not per se worked on the public, and if anything has had the opposite effect. I've heard from, for example, the women's ward of prison that the Baha'i prisoners have such respect, among other prisoners. And I've heard things like their grace, the way they believe in the peaceful struggle, their patience, is something that a lot of younger prisoners take home with them.
And that has been the problem. If you look at the speeches of the founder of the revolution, changes towards modernization in Iran has kind of been blamed on the Baha'is.
There's not a single Baha'i in Iran that has not been affected by the persecution in one way or another. The former UN Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Religion or Belief called the persecution of the Baha'is one of the most extreme forms of religious persecution in the world today. We've seen that the seeds of division that the Iranian government has tried to sow has not been successful. In particular, in recent years, we have witnessed how millions of Iranians inside and outside of Iran have arisen in the support of the Baha'i community in Iran to tell the Iranian government they do not trust and believe in the hate propaganda that has been spread against them.
This is the absurdity of Otherization. It's based on a fiction of lazy stereotype that strip people of their identity and replace it with a false story. One designed to exclude, like Baha'is, humiliate, and justify discrimination.
Despite these challenges, the Baha'i community demonstrates remarkable resilience. They have maintained their community bonds, developed alternative education institutions, and consistently rejected violence.